When the infidels opened the thrice-cursed gate to Gehenna, releasing the Gog and Magog upon those who believe, it seemed that all was lost, and Shaitan would emerge victorious over Dunya. But the creator of the universe came to the aid of the faithful, and, as had been written, the great iron wall of Du al-Karim manifested itself in the lands ruled by the Sultan of Rum. A call was sent to those who believed righteously, and over the coming decades the migration of all the faithful, second in importance only to the Hijrah of the Prophet himself, took place across Europa, Asia, and Africa. Millions perished on the roads and at the sea, for the heretics and their shaitan lords swarmed them as locusts swarm fields of ripe sesame, devouring them and building vile monuments and statues from their limbs and heads, so they could not be buried as is decreed in the holy texts. But once all those who survived the journey had come, the mighty gates of Al-Karim were closed, and the great sultanate of the invincible iron wall of the two horns that pierced the sky was formed. The assaults of the slaves of Gehenna against the sultanate have never ceased since that day, and each day new martyrs are mourned as they defend the wall and confront the heretics who have overcome its defences. But within the walls, the lost knowledge flourishes, and from mosques of white marble and gold, the muezzin called the faithful to pray for the success of the Sultan's army as it struggles to protect the lands within the wall and defend the caravan trails that provide the Sultanate with vital trade goods. The Iron Wall is the greatest defensive work in the world, a mighty bulwark festooned with the famed artillery of the Sultan. Azebs sharpshooters stand at the ready, ever watchful for surprise attacks, and the elite Janissary regiments have barracks set at intervals near the wall so they can react to any attack at speed. During a more serious incursion, a full muster of Azebs is called, and the House of Wisdom unleashes its terrifying Takwin creations upon the foe, and if the need is desperate, the Sultan himself comes forth, and his Janissaries march with him to do battle, carrying the green flag of the Prophet before them. Thus, the protection of the Iron Wall has had an extensive influence on the Sultanate way of war. The conscripted Azebs are experts at feigned flight and skirmish, while the loping lions of Jabir harass the enemy flanks. All the while, the superb artillery of the Sultanate bombards the enemy as they make their tortuous journey across the battlefield, littered with traps set by the skilled sappers. When they reach the ranks of the faithful, the Janissaries, Sultan's elite household troops, close in and finish the enemy with their devastating countercharge led by the iron-willed officers. Dreaded assassins from Almut prowl in the winds of time, striking the enemy elites and leaders, while the alchemists of the House of Wisdom unleash devastating weapons made deadly by their elemental mastery, capable of overcoming the defences of virtually any foe. Beyond the Iron Wall, forces of the Sultan operate in small, mobile companies, each with a particular mission to accomplish. They hunt down apostates that have gone to serve shaitans, look for the relics from the time of the prophets, or seek to recover lost treasures and books of knowledge from the ruins of the fallen caliphates. Though an understanding between the Church and the Sultanate on being co-belligerents against Gehenna exists, the commanders of these expeditions will tolerate no interference and do not hesitate to crush those who would hinder their mission. Resentment against the infidels who unleash Gog and Magog runs deep in the Sultanate, and matters of honour are swiftly resolved with duels to the death. Woe to those who dare to hinder the missions of those who believe. The Janissaries are the Sultanate's elite warriors, raised from childhood in the arts of war. Captured during raids upon the desolate northern and eastern marches beyond the Iron Wall, they are subjected to rigorous martial training and indoctrination from an early age. Through spiritual and alchemical means, bound by chains unseen, their minds are carefully conditioned until they attain a complete and unwavering loyalty to the Sultan, and to him alone. Their physical attributes are augmented by potent elixirs created by the mystic Jabirean arts. Their ornate armour is forged from the metallic formula that the alchemagy of the Sultan gleaned from the very iron wall that protects the Sultanate from their enemies. These soldiers are also protected by powerful talismans crafted by the blind thaumaturgists from the school of the meteoric omen. Armed with Jezzail rifles, hand mortars, yataghan blades, and a devotion carved upon their very souls, the Janissaries are formidable opponents indeed. On the battlefield, Janissaries excel at storming enemy strongpoints and trenches, crushing elite formations and acting as the bodyguard for high-ranking individuals. Though the Sultan uses them sparingly beyond the Iron Wall, since they also form his personal bodyguard, some Janissaries are sent to the front line to bolster the cause of the Sublime Gate. In the middle of the mud, blood and dust of the trenches, their richly decorated panoply of war creates a beautiful and frightening spectacle as they charge the enemy lines with total conviction. Paradise awaits those who fall in righteous battle. In the fabled Sultanate of the Iron Wall, deep beneath the golden gardens of Damascus, through the cavern of the Sleeper and past the seven gates of potentiality, are the vast laboratories and metaphysical factories of the alchemists. Using the mysterious Jabirian process called Ta'aquin, the alchemists are able to create artificial life and produce all manner of strange, wondrous beasts and automatons to delight the masses of the souk and grace the gardens of the Sultan. Deeper still, in the darkest and most secret reaches of the alchemy complex, past the seven hidden gates of actuality, are the sanctums where the art and science of Ta'aquin is honed to its most keen and deadly purpose. Here, they make the dreaded Lions of Jabir. Named after the deadly hunters of the plains, the Lions of Jabir can take many forms, not all of them leonin. Each one is a unique masterwork, and they are grown according to the skills and artistry of the Jabirian scientists that created them. The esoteric arts the alchemagi employ are learned through study of forbidden books of Solomon, and many alchemists are killed when their experiments fail or run amok. However, the lions are in desperate demand by the army of Sultanate, so the program continues, regardless of cost or casualty. Creating the Lions of Jabir is extremely difficult, and there are endless variables to consider. Because of this, lions are often malformed in some way. Though still magnificent hunters in war, their malformations often cause their existence to be one of constant physical pain and suffering. The truly tragic cases are the lions created with human-like intelligence, who are racked with existential dread as they realize the horror of their unnatural origins. In battle, the Lions of Jabir are deadly threats and are used as a vanguard of the host of the Sultanate. The Sultan himself has a hunting pack of 77 enormous Lions of Jabir. They guard him day and night and accompany him on the battlefield. The speed and ferocity of the lions is nearly unmatched, and some even have strange powers granted by their alchemical birth. Many have armour melded with their flesh and fashioned from alchemical metals, etched with cryptic seals and sigils, and richly embellished by the alchemists to hide the defects in their creations. The alchemists are the battlefield mystics and artificers of the great Sultanate of the Iron Wall, schooled in the hidden knowledge of the legendary Smaragdin tablet within the House of Wisdom. Admission is open to any with will and intellect deemed sufficient, be they man or woman. To become an alchemist is no easy task. They undergo many trials on their path to mastery. First are the countless lessons of the newly initiated, studying the Jabirian corpus, translating the keys of Solomon, and learning all the fundamental disciplines of their primeval science. Only after 7 years of study, under the watchful and exacting eyes of the High Alchemagi, is an aspirant allowed to attempt the 3 trials required for full membership in the order. The first trial is to create a suit of alchemist's armour which protects against harm. This is an essential tool of their craft, festooned with the seals of Solomon, which enables them to bend the elements of creation to their will and shields them even from the devices of hell. Next, they must create a Ta'aquin servant, a homunculus creature of artificial life and intellect. If the candidate manages to follow the complex formula, as well as the intricate timing and temperature requirements, the creature will emerge after 40 days of toil. It will act as the alchemist's living tool of creation, for their hands have fine motor skills well beyond even the nimblest craftsman. Vaguely shaped like a small human, it can change the consistency of its body to an almost liquid-like slime to squeeze into alchemical chambers to do their master's bidding in extreme temperatures and in the fog of poisonous chemical fumes. Many aspirants fail here, and their creation emerges from its golden celestial sphere, a deformed monstrosity, filled with hatred towards its creator. It burrows itself into the alchemist's body to consume it from within, wearing its would-be master as a skin. The third and final test is its opening the third eye, the key to cosmic illumination which allows them to see the building blocks of creation, and thus be able to ensure that the elements they use are in perfect balance. Those that fail, their final tests are horribly changed. Their third eye swelled to nightmarish proportions and melds with their original pair, driving the aspirant mad during the process of their deformation. They spend the rest of their pitiful lives screaming of the unseen horrors all now revealed to them. Out of mercy, alchemists that fail in this way are often put down, but there are rumours of cabals of these living failures kept alive for reasons unknown. An alchemist that has passed all three trials is formidable indeed, a master of esoteric powers, able to control fire and ice, metal and liquid, capable of creating intricate mechanical devices and artificial life, as well as weapons of calamitous potency. In exchange for the freedom to practice their arts, the alchemists supply the Sultanate with the peerless Jabirean battle lions, and serve on the front lines where their devastating alchemical compounds melt the flesh from the bones of enemies of the believers, dissolving through even the toughest armour. They go by many names: Ghost Wolves, the Secret Knives, Subtle Vipers, the Sultan's Wrath. Whatever they are called, assassins of the Sultanate instill terror in the hearts of even the most dauntless. Assassins are a legendary order of mystic warriors, notorious the world over for their esoteric arts and ruthlessness. Atop a foreboding mountain broods the Onyx Fortress, Alamoth the Unconquerable. Behind its shadowed walls, great secrets are hoarded by the ancient Magi. Some say that the founder of the Order of Assassins, Rashid ad-Din Sinan, best known as the Old Man in the Mountain, still holds his court here. A preposterous rumour, naturally, since that would make him close to 8 centuries old. Though the Ismaili sect of assassins is seen as heretical by many within the lands of the Iron Wall, a pact forged between the Sultan and the Mountain ensures that the warband of the believers often include one of these supreme killers in their service. Assassins are able to bend space and time using sacred rituals and powerful hallucinogens discovered by Magi of the Order. With this esoteric power, they prowl behind enemy lines, hunting their targets with merciless efficiency. They can seemingly appear in 2 places at once, strike an enemy with startling speed, and then travel back in time to a moment a few heartbeats before, safe from any retaliation. They do this in service of their Sultan, whose enemies they are charged to destroy in a form of ritual holy murder. To carry out this task, the assassins are painfully altered by many powerful unguents, chemicals and potions. They stand much taller than a normal man and are many times as fast and strong. Though adept with all manner of weapons, assassins favour the poison blades forged in the unknown depths of Alamoth. These weapons are imbued with the supreme poison, the Milk of Manat, also known as the Cup of Death. A simple touch of these blades upon unprotected flesh is certain death, as the body of the victim turns black and rots from within over the course of several excruciating seconds. In chthonic chambers deep below the surface, generations of young assassins are raised, where they are fed an awful bitter diet rich with strange toxins. Generation by generation their tolerance grows, until the blood of these willing vessels is drawn and then smelted into a poisonous iron. The iron is forged into wicked, curving blades, and deadly spells of slaying are layered into each fold of the toxic metal. Finally, the red-hot blades are quenched in the venom of the pale, unnatural offspring of a basilisk and a manticore. Thus, the blood of the first generation of assassins still lives to this day, growing more potent with each generation. The lands of the Sultanate are vast, and many armies can be raised from the multitude of the provinces. where one household in 20 is required to arm and equip a soldier to serve the ruler of those who believe. Most such soldiers are known as Azebs, meaning unmarried, as those with families cannot become Azebs. They serve as the light infantry on both land and the sea, as well as guarding the Great Iron Wall against the heretic assaults. When an elite force is sent beyond the wall to strike the enemy or look for holy artifacts, the recruiters of the Sultan call for volunteers to join the leaders of such expeditions. Though the missions into no man's land are dangerous, there are always plenty of Azeb willing to step forward. There is fame to be won, and chance aplenty to acquire valuable loot. Weaponry of the Azebs varies a great deal, as they do not have access to the superb arms, armour and alchemical marvels the elite household troops of the Sultan such as the Janissaries and the Cataphracts do. Most carry jazales with a distinct curved stock. These are handmade weapons, and consequently they vary wildly in their construction. Jazales are very personal weapons, well crafted, and their distinct curved stocks are intricately decorated. These long arms can be loaded with all manner of ammunition, fire-roughened bullets, long iron nails, or even alchemically treated silvers of the Great Iron Wall. This makes jazales highly adaptable and less dependent on easily depleted ammo. Other weapons and equipment include curved daggers and scimitar's, pistols and sappers equipment. Armour is rare, as Azebs are often used by their superiors as light skirmishers to harass and tie down the enemies while the heavier troops close in for the kill. Their superiors see little reason to waste expensive armour on troops that fall in great numbers and are easily replaceable. Paradise awaits those who die for their faith, after all. Many Azebs meet a terrible end in the cruel wars in the trenches, and others return broken in mind and body. But there are always new, hot-blooded recruits willing to risk it all for the Sultan, a chance to kill the hated followers of Shaitan, and return to home as heroes with fabulous stories and glittering gold. Military expeditions over the Great Iron Wall into no man's land carry many risks, and their commanders are field officers known as the Uspazi. They are expected to lead from the front, and their selection is solely on merit, with no consideration given to family pedigree or wealth. Many are promoted from the ranks of the Janissary Corps. Their bodies are enhanced by the Jabirean alchemical arts and their minds conditioned by the mystics, allowing them to face any foe unflinchingly. The downside of the mystic mental hardening is their utter disregard for pain and their cold ruthlessness on the battlefield. Casualties, both their own and those of the enemy, as well as those non-combatants who believe, are purely utilitarian to the Uspazi. For is it not just to send heretics to Jahannam, while the warriors who fall in battle will wake in paradise, as has been promised? Under the orders of a powerful pasha or emir, or even the Sultan himself, the Uspazi assumes the command of an elite squad of warriors to fulfill their task, such as to reclaim holy artifacts lost during the catastrophic period when heretics took the Levant by storm. Other times they are told to find and eliminate powerful foes such as heretic nobles who were once subjects of the Sultan, but have since turned their backs to Allah. Uspazi are equipped with superb armour of meteoric iron, the finest carbines gilded with silver and loaded with alchemical shot, and carry Khilij swords of the past heroes of Sultanate, where great deeds of old are inscribed with golden calligraphy. If they serve the Sublime Gate well, their name and glory will be etched on the blade as well to inspire future generations. The strongest carry the dreaded hand cannons which double as deadly halberds. If they are hunters of distinction, they wear pelts of their greatest kills, such as chimeras as cloaks, which offer protection from the powers of Shaitan. Success brings Uspazi the favour of the Sultan, and along with it honour, splendid weaponry of Damascus steel, gold dinars aplenty, and access to the wondrous devices and creatures created by the Jabirean Alchemists in the House of Wisdom. Hunting is a noble pursuit within the ranks of the officer corps, and artificial birds of prey and automaton hounds double as potent weapons of war, and are brought along to the front to aid their masters. Due to the protection afforded by the Iron Wall, the Sultanate has always maintained excellence in artillery. However, the siege guns and heavy mortars that defend those who believe on the ramparts of the wall are far too cumbersome for small expeditionary forces. Thus, in the year of the Hijra 821, Sultan Bayezid III commissioned a new creature of war to act as living field artillery. To fulfill this decree, the Jabirean scientists of the Royal Artillery House have laboured for centuries to perfect the divine art of Taquin. In their secret laboratories, they perform countless experiments, learning many precious and costly lessons in the process. They have devised many things, but none more clever or ingenious than the Brazen Bull, called Boga, by the soldiery of the Sultanate. The Brazen Bull is a monstrous being of immense power and vitality, capable of tearing even the bastard child of a devil clean in half. The Sultan's armourers equip the bulls with heavy artillery that even the superhuman Janissaries cannot lift, let alone use in battle. Flame cannons, volley guns, and holy blades blessed by the word of the Great Protector. Encasing its mighty frame is exquisitely decorated bronze armour of thrice-hardened scales, covered in talismans of protection and the grace of the Creator. On the battlefields beyond the wall, the Brazen Bull is an awesome and terrifying sight. It is a single-minded, fearless walking bulwark, a tower and shield which the war parties of the Sultanate can rally behind. Such is the power of their weapons that the very earth shakes with their pounding, disrupting the enemy advance even when they fail to slay their target.